Welcome back to On the Horizon podcast, hosted by Jessie Sage and Melrose Michaels. First, thank you so much for becoming a premium subscriber and supporting our podcast. This is getting you extra exclusive, unheard, and unseen footage from each interview that we have on the horizon. Joey Kim is a globe-trotting Asian-American erotic film producer, photographer, burlesque dancer, and model. Kim's movies and performances have been cited as nothing the porn industry has ever seen before in the Huffington Post.
I was thinking about this as you guys were talking, because from I kind of went through that too, where I was I was a columnist for a long time. I was putting out tons of articles all the time. And I stopped all of that to work on my book. And it was this huge shift of getting the immediate feedback, from my weekly or biweekly, or twice a week, articles that I was pumping out, and then pulling that energy back for myself and not getting that, not getting the feedback, not getting the satisfaction of the
commentary
and of the constant interaction that came from high production. But it's also given me space to think about on a deeper level about what I'm doing, and just thinking about what you were saying as a time to reap and a time to sow. There's a time to put stuff out, and there's also a time to take energy back for yourself.
That's a great way to structure and frame that, because even I was trying last April, I wanted to go back to the Snapchat model on OnlyFans and put out a video a day in the DMs. That was my goal, and I didn't succeed, for anyone listening. It didn't work. But when I was doing that, I was getting the compliments and the testimonials and the reviews back from my fans and DMs this video is so great. And it was very inspiring. Okay, I got to keep doing this. I love hearing that. I love hearing that. But also at the same time, if you hear so much feedback and commentary, you're not hearing yourself.
It crowds out your own. Yeah. That's what I was finding, is that there was you start thinking through other people's lenses, and you need to take a step back. There's points in your career where you need to be doing that. And then there's points in your career where you need to take some time and listen to your own voice too, and see where do you connect with the work that you're putting out, because it's also yours. Yeah.
I love that. And so I want to turn to some tangible things, because I know there's going to be content creators listening as well. Maybe they're an adult, maybe they're not. But I'm curious, from you who's very experienced in photography and cinematography, if you didn't have any of the tools or any of the high-end cameras or all of these things, just your cell phone and whatnot, what tips could you give creators to make something very beautiful with a simpler tool like that when they're just starting out?
It's very funny you say this, because I was put in that very position in 2018 when I was traveling. I was actually in Spain, and I checked out of my hotel early that day, and my flight wasn't until the evening. So I had all my bags in my car, and I just I parked somewhere and was gonna just enjoy my day by the beach. I went back, and all my bags were stolen. So I had 2 laptops in there. It was a MacBook and a Windows, because I'd stream and edit from 2 different computers. I had iPad, I had a drone, I had 2 cameras and multiple lenses, and all my equipment was in there, everything. There was just maybe 1 bag that was left behind because I had it in the trunk. There were bags that were mainly just clothes, and but my laptop was gone. Everything was gone. I thankfully still had my phone, and I had my credit card. My passport was gone, and so at that time I was gonna fly to, where was I going to? I believe I was gonna fly to Malaga or somewhere, and I was going to do rank month, and so I was preparing to do a rank month, streaming every day, and now I was stuck on the islands in Spain, and it was fine, I guess. I eventually, now I look back at it as a blessing, because I've learned so much from it. But I had only my phone, and I had nothing else. And I went to the store and I bought a MacBook. and I decided like I will be editing and live streaming from this MacBook for the entire month. And that's what I did. I had my phone. And actually, you could do so much even without a webcam. You can, if you have a MacBook, you can connect your iPhone directly to, like with your phone card, directly to your MacBook, and it will read as a camera source. So you just, and it will charge it. So yeah, that's like your high quality webcam right there. And that's a great camera. And I actually, at the time when I was in 2018, we just started like being able to stream through RTMP, but it wasn't very good. And so at the time I was struggling with it because I needed to use like OBS, and that wasn't really an option because the connection wasn't very stable at the time. They were still like experimenting with it on the platform I was on. And so, but nowadays that's not an issue. And I shot all my movies on my iPhone, and you can do so much with your phone. The camera on your phone is incredible. I've shot full high quality movies. Eventually I bought a webcam for camming because of the technical issues. And even with the webcam, I remember there was a model that came into the room and asked me what camera I was using. And I was like, I don't know, Logitech C920. So I would say tips, I would say lighting is very important. You have to, if you have good lighting, it really almost doesn't matter what camera you're using. I would also say that like equipment isn't really as important as people think. I think a lot of people, like a lot of times, I was actually afraid that this interview was going to be like all about just asking about my equipment, because I really do believe that that is not the correct like questions. Because I believe that anyone's capable, and I mean I've created content with like the equipment I had available to me, and still had questions about like what equipment I was using. And even though it was equipment that everyone really had access to, and maybe not everyone, but like it was like the equipment most cam girls used, or and like we all have an iPhone. So I mean, honestly, I think that lighting is also a personal preference as well. So I think it's really just like going back to self-discipline and like, like doing it again and again, and finding what looks good for you, or do you like your camera on a tripod, or you can even, I mean, I think there's a lot of shame in like hiring other help. And I think a lot of people too, especially when you're a woman, if you have help from someone else, they will, like a lot of times people will like to, I guess, downplay your talents or your efforts. They'll be like, you had help,
Oh, I want help. I want all the help.
I think there's nothing wrong as well. I think it's important too that like if you have the friends who can help you, or you have the financial means to hire help, and you find someone you trust and have good chemistry with, that you can, because I think
so much good can come out of collaboration, like new ideas, and
it's true. All of the greatest things come from collaborations. I feel like my biggest projects now that I'm creating are as big and as great as they are because I'm able to have the talents and the knowledge and the help of really talented people beyond myself,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's a lovely place to stop too, because you definitely touched on the fact that it's about using the tools you have and not necessarily better tools. I think that's so important for creators listening to this.
Yeah.
Bea York is a lingerie and photography enthusiast. She's been an indie adult performer for the past 6 years and loves having an outlet to create with purpose and passion. She started sex work on Reddit and has grown into a multi-nominated creator. Her goal is to use her growing knowledge and creativity to show all bodies are worthy of feeling sexy and glamorous. when she is not perfecting her craft, she loves craft beer, traveling, trying new foods, and being fabulous. You mentioned too that after you shoot, you edit. Do you edit everything same day?
No.
Oh, I was like, because if you do, you're a unicorn. Like, that's insane. Wow.
Sometimes I am really anxious to just cram through stuff. And so if I have downtime after dinner, I'll come back to it and be like, for a few hours. But for the most part, I try to be a little bit more strategic nowadays and give myself proper time off. When it comes to photo editing, though, as soon as I'm home, I'm going on my iPad. I'm like, okay, I'm going to call these, pick all the ones I like. And my favorite thing is figuring out the color correction and playing with the colors and stuff. So that I can do same day.
Yeah.
But that's because it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you a Lightroom girl? Or are you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have any presets or anything like that?
I've made a few that are just kind of basic starting points, and I call them B codes. Because it's
you release a group of presets. I would buy presets from you.
I actually did make some for a friend. I don't know if she's, not to sell. I'm definitely not that confident yet. But I did make some for her to kind of help because the color was a little off on her older camera. So I was like, here, this will help get you to a point where you like the stuff more.
Yeah.
And she did use them. And I was like, yay.
Which is so funny because when we were setting up this morning, PJ, my husband, was like, I have to color correct your screen on your laptop. You guys cannot do this.
Speaking of PJ, he's going to be really mad about the shadow from your mic on your body. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, oh, PJ walks in.
But yeah, my computer was color corrected this morning.
Yes.
And I was like, how do you know that? Because I am part of the problem is that I have a partner who's really into this stuff. So I didn't learn how to do it, but also I was like, how do you know that the color was off on my screen? And he's like, because I know what the colors are supposed to look like. And I was like, oh, okay.
Pretty much. I'm always so jealous though of people with partners that are savvy with this stuff.
Yeah. My husband's savvy. He's obviously he's a photographer and he'll fix my stuff from time to time too. But I've spoke about this before, but we rarely shoot together. I rarely let him do photos for me. He's never done any of my cinematography ever just because I only self shoot. I can't let someone into that space and feel confident about my performance, I guess. Which is probably why I will never do mainstream porn because I can't do it. I can't perform that way. I'm shy in that way. But even my photos, we get so frustrated with each other because I'm like, I have a vision and you don't see my vision. And then he'll be like, well, I have a vision too. And he'll take the picture and yeah, yours is better.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
Yeah. We've gotten in fights like that before too. Well, because PJ is a super perfectionist and then I'll be like, just take the picture. I don't
70 lighting changes later. I'm like, I don't care about that. I'll stand in front of a window. Come on. I'm his worst client.
Yeah. And everyone that we've done trade content with is so funny because if they're guest on the podcast, they'll make fun of him when we're
we're oh yeah, PJ.
Yeah, PJ's here. Okay. This is gonna take all day. But this stuff is good. It's just funny. Because I'm much more let's go. We gotta pump stuff out. But
do you feel pressure for stuff like that? Because you're producing such high quality content. Do you feel the pressure of you're not producing fast enough? Because I know especially when I was in my Snapchat days where it was all low quality, all pumped out. I was filming 7 shows a day at one point, so I could not have to film the rest of the week. And that pressure of a show a day, a video a day was a lot. And you can't do that with a high production value. It'd be insane.
Yeah, that's why I try and keep my more styled photos and stuff to once a week. If not, I'm filling it in with stuff I've done with a professional photographer, just to space it out and give myself some rest.
Yeah.
And then, I try and keep it kind of high-low. You'll get some really fancy stuff. You'll get the selfies throughout the week. But I actually batch most of my stuff for the month ahead. So the last week of the month is usually really hectic for me because I'm trying to cram out stuff. And then, like, then I take it easy. But yeah, it's definitely like very, I would say, strategic in like scheduling. So I know I need to do at least this number of photo sets that kind of like fill into these days, and this kind of stuff for these kind of days, and like these short videos for this. So there's, it's all planned out the month ahead.
I love hearing this behind the scenes stuff, to hear like how people work.
You're making my professional like life side of my soul so happy.
Because I like go to your Instagram and I'm like, these are pretty pictures, but I don't think about like
what went into that,
or like how it was planned or when those pictures were taken, because I'm so like slapdash about things that if I put a picture up, it's probably because like I just took it and then I won't put anything else up for like a while.
I'm curious, what is your month like when you're talking about this schedule? Because you're very conscious of like holidays coming up, or like, you know, you planning for that. What is like a month outline look like? Are you doing all your shooting in 1 week for everything you need, or like how is it structured?
So the only thing that is usually done, my like nicer photo sets and stuff, I usually plan those out weekly, and it's more of because, you know, I want to make sure I'm always practicing. But that usually drops onto like OnlyFans and Fansly 2 weeks after they're shot. Okay. And that gives me plenty of time to like be lazy and then edit them.
But then you have to make sure you're shooting them a month before you want to drop them, right?
Yeah. Wow. So that's why I have to like start planning like for like themed things. I need to start planning, especially if it's anything that where I need to order items that are like from Etsy or someplace where the shipping might be forever. But it's little things like that where you do need to have some foresight. But outside of that, like for my main content that people like, it's usually just batch done the last week of the month and then scheduled out.
So the last week of the month is batch the main content for like the whole next month, or like, oh, wow. That's intense.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the last week of the month is always very hectic.
You make me look unproductive.
No.
Wow. Okay.
It's only so I can be super lazy for like the first week of the month and like the third week of the month. Yeah. Somewhere in the middle, I'm like catching up on like customs and stuff.
Yeah. Wow. We hope you enjoyed this bonus footage from this episode of On the Horizon, and we look forward to having you tune in next time.